Sandhya madam.
Good morning, Mr. Pranav.
Good morning, Sandhya.
Director.
Thanks. Yeah, Arshadhan.
Sir, we'll start the session. Sir.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Good morning to all the participants who are joined on 1 week National Development Professional Development Program on Generative AI Essentials, a deep dive into theory and practice, which is scheduled from 22nd to 27th July 2024. I welcome our director, Dr. Chinakeshwar Rogar sir, for addressing this PD.
Good morning to all of you. Namaskar. Swagatam, Suswagatam to all of you who have joined online for this PDF program. So as you're all aware that the VNRVJIET is one of the most sought after college in the state of Telangana. So in this connection, I once again extend warm welcome to all of you for this professional development program being conducted by the Department of AI and Mission AML department and as well as IoT. So on Generative AI Essentials, a deep dive into the theory and practice. So today I think everybody is talking about AI, machine learning, deep learning, IoT, cybersecurity, and all these are all emerging technologies. In this present era, I think each one of us, I think we have to upgrade our skills in the generative AI also, because nowadays everybody is using generative AI. And in this connection, I request all the delegates, so please try to attend all the sessions without missing even a single session and try to interact with the experts. And unless you practice, I think it is very difficult to learn all these new technologies. So I request once again all the delegates as well as the experts who have joined in this particular platform. So please try to discuss about the recent developments in the area of generative AI and how we are going to make use of this generative AI. Unless I think we learn all these skills, I think it is very difficult to transform this knowledge to the students. So in this connection, we have decided to conduct this that is a professional development programs at VNRVJIET. So Pranav Garu, I think we would like to thank for associating with VNRVJIET in this form. This is the Black Buck, I think, organization is associating with our AML department for conducting this type of programs. So I once again thank you, Pranav Garu, and I congratulate the Department of AI, Machine Learning and IoT under the leadership of Dr. N. Sandhya and the coordinator Arshadhan Garu for organizing this program at VNRVJIET. I wish you all good luck. I hope you are going to enjoy this 1 week sessions. All the sessions, please try to attend and try to practice. Then only we can learn without any difficulty. Okay, I wish you all good luck. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your addressing. Now I invite our head of the department, Dr. N. Sandhya madam, to address the professional development program.
Thank you, Harshvardhan sir. I welcome all the participants for this national level FDP. Thanks to Blackbucks, with whom we have made an MOU, and this is our first activity along with them, in association with them, that we are doing. Coming to the topic generative AI, as nowadays this is the buzzing word, and everybody know that this generative artificial intelligence is something which refers to the use of AI, where we try to create new content like text, image, music, audio, and video, even like using the using prompts also. The most popularly used application of generative AI, which is an exciting advancement of generative AI, is probably ChatGPT, that many of us are making use these days. There are many applications of generative AI when we look at it. Mostly in the media, it is being used very advancedly. When I look at generative AI with respect to education, Maybe we can make most of it has been applied in personalized lessons, in designing some courses, maybe in creating the content for some courses, data privacy protection for the models that we develop. And when we want to some learning materials, old learning materials, if we want to restore, there we can make use of this. And also with respect to tutoring also, we can make use of generative AI. So there are huge set of applications of generative AI. There are so many tools that have been integrated into your which are making generative AI so popular these days. I welcome all the participants. Though it is online, still we have a very good set of registrations that have come around 140. The Department of AIML and IoT has been looking forward for all advanced FDPs on advanced technologies, and we assure that this would be a great platform where you will learn, where you will have a lot of baggage to take away, a lot of good learning, and have better insights. So that's the title itself says that we are going to give you both theoretical and practical implementation of the tools, and as well as the entire generative AI applications into text, images, video, audio, and all these things. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And we thank our management for supporting us in organizing this event. Thank you. Thank you, Harshavardhan sir, for organizing
Thank
this event. Our coordinators, Harshavardhan, Abhasha, have been working a lot to putting lot of efforts towards organizing of this FDP. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your deep into the about the FDP and notifying about the institution as well as about the department. Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Now it's the time to it's my immense pleasure to invite our association partner of this PDP, CEO and founder Blackbird Group, Anuradha Thota, madam. Madam,
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome, Anuradha ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you, Sandhya ma'am. Thank you, VNRVJIET, management of VNRVJIET, director sir, Sandhya madam, and Harsha sir, for making this really informative session happen today. And we have made our attempts to make it robust in terms of both theory and practicals as suggested by VNR team. We have made it robust in both the aspects, in both theory and practicals. So the technology is moving very fast, and recently it looks like some scientists have even grown organ transplants, small organ, miniature organ transplants. People have grown, and brain and computer interface, like whatever you are thinking. Say, for example, you want to switch on the light in the brain, it is actually switching on the light. So it is no longer a fiction. So you are able to now control devices with your mind, and so many advances. Even they're actually replicating the power source of stars, looks like. So artificial intelligence is making really, really wonders these days. And as ma'am has mentioned, am I audible? Am
yes,
I
madam.
audible?
Harshavardhan sir, mute yourself.
Okay, and as ma'am has mentioned, we have so many use cases that we can use in education. As faculty, you can so much personalize. Personalization is actually looks like is on steroids. So personalization, everything, personalization in education, in entertainment, and even in product design. We have our own product called TapTap, which is for student learning. So as soon as a student takes an employability test, they get a personalized, using artificial intelligence, they get a personalized lesson plan on what they have to do, so that for the next employability assessment they will be better prepared. Okay, so much happening in terms of artificial intelligence, and this is the right topic for all of us. Let me briefly share 2 minutes I will take to share my okay, so to get you all into the mood of artificial intelligence, I have one quick question. Let us make this interactive. So this question, 3 questions are there. So to make it interactive and to get your attention, these are the quick questions. Hope you're able to see my screen. So AI, of course, gives various benefits, as I just mentioned. In your day-to-day application as faculty, which one of the below is an exclusive benefit of generative AI, you think? One, automatically grading student assignments, creating realistic. The second one is creating realistic data sets for machine learning projects. Third one is simplifying complex algorithms for beginners. And fourth one is providing real-time feedback during coding exercises. Which one of this belongs to generative AI?
I think B, ma'am.
Yeah, of course it is B. It is creating realistic data sets for machine learning projects. Earlier, this has changed a bit. I mean, like data sets we used to take predefined data sets and students used to work on machine learning projects. But now using generative AI, the data itself can be generated. The students can themselves generate new data sets for their own machine learning projects. Thank you, ma'am, for that response. And the next question is generative pre-trained transformers, GPTs. We all call this chat GPTs. So generative pre-trained transformers are a specific type of GANs, generative adversarial networks. Two, LLMs, large language models trained on massive amounts of data. Third one, used primarily for image and video generation. And D is limited to generating code snippet for programmers.
Ma'am, it's B. It's B.
D. Okay, fine. Okay, so it is LLMs trained on massive amounts of text data, but most of the programmers in the industry are using it for code snippets. Previously, I used to take, say, for example, I myself code. I used to take some 30 days for developing a website, and I think I can do it in probably one day these days. So obviously, you also see there is massive reduction in jobs in computer in IT sector. That is because what I used to do in 30 days, I am able to do in one day. Obviously, number of people who are required also gets reduced. So this is the second utility. And what is the most promising future direction? I put this question because you're all faculty and probably will be writing and publishing lots of papers and doing a lot of research. So what is the most promising future direction for generative AI research in next probably 1 year, 2 years? What will be the best? A is developing models that require less computational power. B, actually, this is a pain because it is using, we have our AI models and it is using so much of AWS space and power, and they're charging us left and right. So A is also required, but in next 1 or 2 years, which one is mostly used? B is increasing the speed at which models can generate outputs. Some of these models you have to start running and come and check tomorrow to see the output. So increasing the speed also is a pain. Third one is improving controllability, robustness, and interpretability of generative models. How do you control? How are they robust? And how do you interpret? C, and D is focusing on generating outputs in new and unique data formats. We know the format is very limited because you see LinkedIn or anybody's article, you can clearly say it is written in by Chat GPT. So D also is a problem. All are problem. But next 1 or 2 years, what do you think we are going to focus on? Researchers are going to focus on? Okay, so this one I've just little bit expanded it. They are focusing mostly on controllability, robustness, and interpretability, because sometimes it gives nonsense and we have lots of jokes around it. So that controllability and robustness in the sense, slightly you give different data, it will give drastically different results. There is no robustness and you cannot predict. So controllability and robustness is what most of you will be probably focusing, because the industry is moving towards that direction. So if you are doing any research, probably controllability and robustness is what you will be focusing on. So I will move on to Blackbucks. We have lots of centers of excellence, even JNTU, and a lot of in Andhra Pradesh, we have in Tirupati. We have centers of excellence in artificial intelligence and data science and cybersecurity. Whichever you need, you can speak to us, and we have presence in all these states: AP, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Goa, and Orissa. And we've been recipient of lots of awards with respect to digital technologies. And very recently, and actually next week also, we are receiving an award from the government. So we have been receiving from past 6 to 7 years, we have been receiving awards related to digital technology trainings and centers of excellence. And if you really need to associate with us, and we've already got certain requests, so if you want to associate with us, please let us know. We have really very good impact. Some of you might have already attended Black Box training. Some 5,700 faculty have been trained by us, and the rating has always been high. And all our courses are affiliated and approved by AICTE NEET, and we are associated with IIT Hyderabad and IIT Tirupati. So before I close and pass it on to Pranav, just wanted to set the next few days. Today and tomorrow, Pranav will be taking the classes to you. And from the third day, Mauli will be taking to you. Some of you might also know Mauli. He has been head of learning and development for Scient. He was the head of learning and development for Scient, and now he is CTO of a very big group called RPG Group at working currently at Delhi, and he's conducted various faculty development programs on behalf of Blackbucks, and many of you might know Mauli also. He will be taking from the third day onwards. So today and tomorrow, Pranav will be taking. And thank you very much once again, VNR, for giving us this opportunity, and all the faculty who have trusted this program that they will be learning quite a bit about generative AI. Thank you so much. Happy learning to all of you. Over to you, Pranav.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha madam.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much, madam, for your nice
Thank you.
presentation.
So,
Now
guys,
it's the time. One minute, madam. 1 minute, sir, Pranav sir. It's the time to introduce the resource person, Mr. Pranav Jaipurkar, data scientist, Edelweiss Global Markets. Now I invite Nikita madam to present the profile of the Pranav sir.
Good morning, one and all. I would like to introduce Mr. Pranav Jaipurkar. Mr. Pranav Jaipurkar is a computer engineer specializing in data science, machine learning, and software engineering. He holds a master's degree in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Maryland, College Park, and a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the College of Engineering, Pune. Pranav Jaipurkar is currently working at Edelweiss Financial Services Limited as a data scientist since November 2021. His previous work experience was in Zedali as a data scientist and in Forward Safety as an associate data analyst. His competent technical skills are in Python, SQL, R, data science, machine learning, deep learning, AI, data visualization, neural networks, and coming to tools, PyCharm, RStudio, MySQL Workbench, Anaconda Navigator, Jupyter, Notebook. And his previous projects were in skincare company data analysis, quiz bowl questions classifier, cluster analysis using k-means and k-mediots, SQL querying on superstores and cricket datasets, word vector operations using deep learning, autonomous card detection using YOLO, digit classifier model using KNN and logistic regression. His certifications and trainings are in Career Boost program in data science through Board Infinity and courses on Python, R, SQL, Spark in R through DataCamp. His previous achievements were he achieved silver medal in International Mathematics Olympiad in 2013 and first prize in Dexter's Lab MindSpark COEP in 2015. And he got first prize in Tech Quiz AISSM College of Engineering in 2014. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining today for this session. I would like to ask Harshavardhan sir to.
Thank you, madam. It's a warm welcome to the Pranav sir. Just I will give you a 2 minutes of brief about our PDP. Then I will hand over the session to the Pranav sir to start the session. Uh, I welcome to all the esteemed colleagues and participants. It is with great enthusiasm that I extend a warm welcome to all of you for our professional development program focused on generative AI. In today's digital era, generative AI has emerged as a pivotal technology with the potential to redefine how we interact with the information, create content, and solve complex problems across various disciplines. Throughout this Throughout this program, we will embark on an in-depth exploration of generative AI, covering essential topics such as natural language processing (NLP), language models (LLMs), and their architectures, with a special focus on revolutionary generative pre-trained transformer (GPTs). We will also delve into practical applications, including the development of long chains and effective prompt engineering techniques. Moreover, we will showcase compelling use cases across industries and guide you through hands-on sessions on building chatbots powered approach aims not only to enhance your theoretical understanding but also to equip with practical skills that can be applied directly in your teaching and research endeavors. As we navigate these sessions, we will also reflect on the ethical implications and societal impacts of generative AI, ensuring that our exploration is both innovative and responsible. I encourage each of you to actively participate, share your insights, and leverage this opportunity to broaden your perspectives and advance your professional development. Together, let's embrace the transformative potential of generative AI and pave the way for innovative advancements in education and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this exciting journey of exploration and learning. Uh, I congratulate all the participants for registering for this 6 days PDP generative AI. In the coming years, we are going to have a in our curriculum as one of the subject on generative AI, and generative AI is having the more research perspective in at present scenario. So I request all the participants please attend all the sessions very sincerely, and we plan the assessments and hands-on session who are very eager and very enthusiasm to learn. Definitely I will assure that you will learn what is a generative AI, and you can able to develop some of the applications with using the generative AI. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Uh, Thank you all my co-faculty members, Dr. G. Nagaraju sir and Mabasha sir, who are coordinating this PDP for successful inaugural and successful continuation of this PDP. And I thank to our head of the department who continuously supporting and to conduct this kind of PDPs, which will benefit the student community indirectly, directly to the faculty community and to the society. I thank to all my management members who constantly they are encouraging to conduct this kind of PDPs. Thank you to all my director, principal sir, and management. Uh, Now, without any delay, I welcome today's our resource persons, Mr. Pranav Jaipurkar, data scientist, Edelweiss Global Markets, to start the session.
Okay. So thank you everybody guys. Thank you sir for giving me this opportunity, and now without wasting even a single minute, let us quickly get started with the session, right? So first of all, as all of you guys know, my name is Pranav, and you guys can address me by my name throughout the session. And I'm going to be your mentor as discussed earlier. I'm going to be your mentor for 2 days, right? So we are having 4 sessions in 2 days. uh, the first one is the morning session, second one is the afternoon session. Morning session is basically from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and afternoon session is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m, right? So basically it's 4 sessions in total, and in these 4 sessions these are the topics, but we will go through all of those topics one by one. Let us now just focus on this morning session of Monday, right? So if you just read the topics, it's the definition, the scope, of generative AI, what are generative models, and it's basically the theoretical background that I have to set for all of you guys, right? So luckily, all of you guys are already professors, you are experts in your field, and I think this would be a really engaging interaction that we will have today in the remaining few minutes that we are having, right? Or 1.5 hour that we are having. So what happened is that we have to understand all of the points. Like in data analytics and in predictive analytics, there has been a particular journey that has happened over here, right? And it is very important that you understand that how this industry has progressed, right, from zero. So earlier it was just Excel that was being used. Right now what happened after Excel is that people started realizing that we are working with big data, and I hope all of you guys are aware of 5 V's of big data, right? So volume, variety, velocity, verity, all of that. So because of the 5 V's of big data, it was not possible for us to work with Excel, right? Because of that 5 V's of big data. And what happened is that if you feed big amount of data to Excel, it takes a lot of time, sometimes it hangs, and it's basically not powerful enough to process millions of rows at a single go. Second point is that it is not having that much flexibility in with respect to modeling, right? So basically what happens is that if you guys are having what you can say linear regression, which is very rare nowadays. Earlier what used to happen is that linear regression was sufficient enough, but because of the fact that the pattern has been changing with a huge speed, right? The pattern or the trend that is available in the data, it has been changing at a very rapid speed. And because of this particular portion, what has happened is that uh, Excel was not sufficient, and hence then people what they did is that they started moving ahead with all the tools and techniques one by one. So they developed Power BI especially for dashboarding and data visualization. They developed SQL to store big amount of data, because even if you store millions of rows in SQL Server databases, it will not hang. It's optimized for data storage. Similarly, people then started moving ahead with machine learning algorithms separately, one by one. So earlier there was just linear regression. Then people observed that there are classification problems. So they tried to move ahead with logistic regression, which is an extension of linear regression algorithm, in which what you do is that on the output of linear regression algorithm, you apply sigmoid function, right? Which brings the values in the scale of 0 to 1, as all of you guys know. Then people observe that the pattern or the trend that we are having, it's no longer linear. So then they started moving ahead with SVM, KNN, and my favorite decision trees, because not in academia we pay equal attention to all the algorithms, because we have to teach them, we have to do research. It's academia and research department. But when you go out there and when the learners of your colleges, they will go out there in corporate industry, you will observe that all the algorithms are not equally used out there in industry. Okay, so definitely there are some algorithms which are used in majority, especially the tree based algorithms. So people, yeah, people then what they did is that they started moving ahead with decision trees. Okay, like then what they observed is that there was some problem in decision tree, like typically overfitting and everything. Then they moved ahead with ensemble learning methods. In ensemble learning methods, what basically happened is that there was random forest to tackle overfitting, which is a parallel ensemble method. Then there were sequential ensemble methods, add a boost, cat boost, XGBoost, and everything. So XGBoost and even cat boost, these are the best possible ML algorithms that anybody can work around with. Anybody, I'm saying, right? So they have inbuilt pruning, inbuilt regularization, inbuilt null value, like whatnot. They almost have solutions to every problem that we would be getting in the field of data science and machine learning. Now, what happened is that machine learning as a whole had some disadvantages, right? The first disadvantage was that when you are creating ML algorithms, you are focusing on features, right? You guys are focusing on input features. That's your job, right? Feature engineering, as you guys know. So it is your task or it is your activity to pay attention to all of these particular portions. Are you getting my point, guys? It is your task or it is your activity to feature engineering, because the features that you create.
Pranav, do you have any slides to be shared?
Yes, I have slides. Just give me 2 minutes. We are moving ahead. Just the
Okay,
introduction talk. Once
okay,
it's done, we have the slides.
okay,
Don't worry about it. I have written them.
okay.
Okay.
Sure, sure.
So now after this is done, what basically happened over here is that features are something in which we have to pay a lot of attention in machine learning, because at the end of the day, it is the features that are going to govern the predictive performance of the model. People thought this is not a good idea because a lot of hard work is still being done by humans, right? So then they moved ahead with something which is called as deep learning. So in deep learning, there are a few concepts which I hope all of you guys are already well aware of. Like in deep learning, there is a neuron. First things first, there is a neuron, right? What is a neuron? Neuron is a basic computational unit such that it takes the input, right? It, let's say x1 and x2 are the, what you can say, inputs that are being given. Then there is z, which is weighted sum, okay, and then there is output yi hat, right? So basically what is z? Z is equal to summation of wixi weighted sum and bias, which is just a simple linear regression algorithm. And then there is an activation function which can be anything sigmoid, and you guys know about that very well, which is going to give us yi hat. Now the problem over here is that this is the basic computational unit of a neural network. You guys, since you guys are faculties already, you might be knowing a lot about deep learning, right? CNN, RNN, LSTM, and whatnot. But just to revise, this is the basic computational unit neuron, and when neurons are arranged in a particular way or a particular fashion, then we form a neural network, and neurons are something which imitate the way in which a human brain is working. Okay, so you already know I will share this reading material with all of you guys so that you can open it up in your laptop. Just 1 minute. Yes. So you can even download it or make a copy of it in your laptop. Reading material. So this is the link for the reading material. Now what is basically going to happen over here is that if you observe here, here I have written some introduction about deep learning. What is it? What are the capabilities? It has the capabilities to achieve human-like cognitive abilities. So see, at the end of the day, whatever is the ML algorithm with which we are working, we are creating that ML algorithm to imitate human behavior. So if we want to imitate human behavior, at the end of the day, we have to first understand the way in which human brain is working. Yes or no, guys? Everybody. Yes, no, guys. Right? So we have to imitate the way in which human brain is working. Correct? So what is basically going to happen is that people thought that there is a neuron and there are multiple neurons which are arranged like I'm using my hand, I'm speaking, I'm explaining. There are neurons in my brain which are transmitting this message that what needs to be done from different sections. Correct, guys, everybody? So there are neurons available over there in human brain which are coordinating with the different body parts that are kind of available over here. Now, the next part over here is that in deep learning, the most important advantage of deep learning is that feature engineering is automated. You are not the one who is going to create features, because manually there is a limit to feature engineering that you can do. Yes or no, everybody, guys? Manually, there is a limit to the extent to which you can do feature engineering. But when you are designing the architecture of the neural network in such a way that the network itself will try to identify features, that's the difference. That's the point because of which deep learning algorithms are used for very complex real world problems like image classification, object detection, spam email classification, predicting the next word that can come, right? So to solve all of these complex problems available over here, deep learning networks are basically something which are being used over here. Okay, now coming to the next point, that there people observe then people. So this is what happens. What is AI? AI is basically any technique which mimics human behavior. Okay, any technique, even a calculator is AI. Because if a calculator would not have been available, we would have been doing calculations by our own. So it is mimicking human behavior in a way. A subset of AI is called as machine learning techniques, in which we will use historical data and statistical techniques to identify trends and patterns that are available in the data. Correct. And now after this is done, deep learning is further a subset of machine learning techniques. So what happens in deep learning techniques? In deep learning techniques, you are going to use neurons and you are going to arrange those neurons in such a way or in such a fashion that complicated uh, tasks can be performed with the help of that. And data scientist is basically a person who uses all of them. So I have worked in industry on an end-to-end ML model problem. Okay, I have worked in industry on deep learning problem, and I have just created AI models, simple AI models and calculations, hard-coded algorithms. All of them I have worked on, all of them in different roles and different requirements in industry. Right. Now, the most important part is that supervised and supervised reinforcement learning. This is just for revision. I hope you guys are already aware of this, but if you still want to read it, it's just for your reference. Now, this is how a typical neural network looks like, right? So there is input layer. That input layer will, so this is a sequential model. Why sequential? Because it moves in a sequence. So input, the layer gives information to the first hidden layer. The output of the first hidden layer acts as input to the second hidden layer, and the output of second hidden layer is given to output layer, which gives you the final output. Okay, so this is a sequential model which I hope all of you guys are already pretty well aware of. Okay, now after this particular section or after this particular portion is completed, the next part over here is, let's go to 100%. Next part over here is brief description and the difference between ML and DL. So there are three main differences that we should know. First difference is that feature engineering is automated in deep learning, because of which the level of performance that you can expect in these algorithms, it's on a totally different scale as opposed to the traditional ML algorithms. And second really important difference that we are basically, it is about the path of this diagram or this curve. So here you get the data. Okay, here you guys are getting the data. And here what is basically happening is, here you are getting the performance. Now what I want all of you guys to understand over here is that this is one curve and this is another curve. So if you observe, this is the curve for ML, machine learning algorithms, any model, not so in specific, any model, and this is the curve for deep learning algorithm, right? So if you observe over here, this diagram basically means that the performance of ML algorithms is saturating at a point such that even if you feed more amount of data, still there is no increment in the predictive performance of the model with which you are working, which is such a bad thing. So let's say that if you have a huge amount of data, you are really lucky enough, and the company with which you are working or the portion with which you are basically working, what will happen over there is that this is basically something that is going to make a lot of efforts or a lot of differences over here. So that is why people are nowadays using deep learning, because in deep learning, if you have more amount of data, what it means, you can get superior performance. Yes or no? If you have more amount of data, the performance is not getting saturated. It can saturate to 88, 98, 99%. But it has shown that if you feed more amount of data, you can get a superior performance. That is why in all the real world complex problems or scenarios, it has shown, uh, it is showing very good promising results, right? So that is the first difference between them. And second difference is that why it is happening. What is the root cause behind this? Because if you feed more amount of data, the given algorithm can try more features at the back end. So as I told you, feature engineering is automated over here. So if you feed more amount of data, more features can be tried out, and it may happen that the deep learning algorithm will have a really superior feature being taken into consideration. Okay, so that is the difference between ML and deep learning models. You can again read about it if you want to. I've just added it. Deep learning applications are unmatched autonomous car driving, computer vision, virtual reality, augmented reality. Like there is no limit to the application. So in my master's degree, I got all of my knowledge of data science and data analytics from my master's degree. So a lot of my friends from my master's degree, one of my close friend is working in a company which is into drone delivery. So you guys might know that drones are into great demand nowadays. One of my friend is working in drone delivery. One of my friend is working in what you can say generative AI. One of my friend is working in robotics, right? One of my friend is working in computer vision, augmented reality, and virtual reality startup, right? So these are the things. So the problem in IT industry, why there are no jobs right now, is because of the fact that people were having traditional knowledge, right? All the people who were there in IT industry, they were having traditional knowledge of front end development, back end development. Yes or no, guys? Full stack development. Now, what happened is that earlier, as our CEO said, Anuradha ma'am, that she was taking 1 month to develop one website. It's her example, it's her wording. Like I have received the same feedback from a lot of other students that I have guided on. But what she said is that she was taking almost 1 month to code and everything from scratch. Now people are using ChatGPT like anything. So with the help of ChatGPT, she's saying one day, let's hypothetically assume that it's 2-3 days to optimize it and properly deploy it into production. Still, her productivity is increased 10 times, at least 10 times, I'm saying. At least 10 times, 10 to 15 times actually. So what has happened is that now one person can do the job of 50 people because of generative AI. Do you agree with me on this, guys? Because of Chat GPT, generative AI, do you think everybody that the productivity of people who are there, it's severely increased multiple times? And that's why what has happened is that companies are not having projects now. So companies were having decent number of projects. But the thing is that with the help of generative AI and advanced ML and deep learning techniques, they are able to do all of these traditional jobs, algorithm development, full stack development, and everything with 10 times less workforce. And that is the primary reason. So it's not that projects are less, it's not that skills are not there. It is just the fact that generative AI has helped every person to become really productive. And that is why what is happening in training industry is that people want themselves to be upgraded with the latest tech stacks. Why? Because they want to prove in interview that I can use the latest technologies that are available in industry now. Okay, they have to prove that I can use. So earlier people were taking one month to create dashboards in Power BI. There is AI extension of Power BI or AI connectors of Power BI that can basically help you to identify the important visuals and everything and do that in 10 minutes. Are you getting my point? 10 minutes. So where is one, what you can say, month, and where is one, sorry, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So are you understanding the drastic difference that AI has brought everybody, guys? So how people reach to particular portion? What was the part? So people found that ML algorithm is getting saturated. Then they found that okay, we should uh, replicate the way in which sorry. So then they found that we should replicate the way in which human brains are working. Okay. Then what basically happened is that they moved ahead with deep learning. And then in deep learning, they were able to get the most superior performance in predictive analytics. But now the problem is not only about predictive analytics, how generative AI came. People thought that we are able to predict everything, but every problem statement that is available out there, do you guys think it's like a predictive problem? Tell me, everybody, guys. Do you guys think that every problem statement that is available out there, is it a predictive problem? No, it's not, right? So it may happen that, so I have to take your sessions. Let's say that last minute I got the call that I have to take sessions for this batch. So my problem is to generate a PPT, to generate a Word document that I can use in my sessions, right? So what is happening is that predictive problems were effectively solved, and then people saw that predictive, there is no advancement left in predictive problems that we can do further. I mean, they can definitely do, but rather than that, there was a very big domain of problems typically revolving around generating something. So AI should be able to generate something for you. Are you getting my point? So let's say if you want, if you are a lyricist, if you are what you can say playing guitar, or if you are a teacher, like all of you guys are teacher. Let's say that you want to create some coding quizzes, right? Which is a very simple problem. Let's say you want to create coding quizzes. Let's say you want to create assignments. Let's say you want to auto grade them. So the thing is that I am into this training industry from almost 3 years, and every content that I display is something which is created by myself. Okay, it's rarely happening that the organizations, so much voice is breaking. Elia is saying that. What about others, guys? Is my voice breaking? Everybody, guys, is my voice breaking? Hello?
No.
No. So I think it's the internet issue from your end, Francis. Okay, because Rama is confirming me no. Anybody else, guys? Okay. So what I was saying is it is clear. Okay, perfect. So what I was basically saying is that people later identified that generating something is going to be the next problem statement. Okay, like you have to generate something, and that's where generative AI came into picture. The first generative model that people created is GANs, right? We will talk all about it, right? What is the full form of GANs? It's generative adversarial networks. Generative and then adversarial networks. As the name is suggesting, it is generating something, right? It is generating something. So in this GANs, what is basically happening is that there are two components. In very simple words, let's assume that you are explaining it to a layman. In this, there are two components, just two components. That's it. First is generator, right? Second is discriminator. So what is basically happening over here is that generator is basically generating the data. So what we do is we give actual data. Everybody, guys, are you getting my point? What we basically do is that we give actual data to the portion, to the algorithm. When we give actual data, the generator tries to learn the trend or pattern that is there in the actual data, and it tries to create synthetic data. Generator is something which is creating synthetic data, point number one, or artificial data, you can say. What is discriminator doing? The job or the task of the discriminator is to identify the difference between the synthetically created data and actual data. So what basically happens is that as the iterations are running for this GAN, so generator will create the data, discriminator will try to identify the difference between artificial data and synthetic data. Then discriminator performance would give feedback to the generator, and in a cyclic fashion, what will basically happen over here is that in a cyclic fashion, you in with multiple iterations, what happens is that the quality of synthetic data that is being created by the generator, it increases so much that the discriminator no longer remains in a position to optimally identify the difference between synthetically created data and artificial data. Right? That is the gist. That is basically the part behind generative AI. So that is basically the portion where people started moving ahead with the generative AI problem. So here are the challenges in deep learning, computational resources, time consuming, disadvantages, everything. And then here is generative AI. The only reason why I've added all the previous things, deep learning and everything and everything and everything, is because there is a small revision that is kind of needed if you are a mentor in this or a professor in this. I don't think that is needed. But in all the other situations, if you just do a small brush up of the things, it's very good. So, generative AI is a subset of deep learning. Like we saw a diagram over here, right? In this diagram, we saw that there is AI. In AI, there is machine learning. In machine learning, there is deep learning. And inside deep learning, a small subset of deep learning is generative AI. So generative AI is that section of deep learning which is not only doing the predictive analytics, it is not doing predictive analytics, it's doing generation part, right? It's going to give the output which is not either class, either discrete or either continuous. That's the difference, or that's the subset part. Now, what is basically going to happen over here is that in generative AI, the most important part in generative AI, it can help you to create the so generative AI models are trained and learned on data sets with large amount of previous data that has been given to them. So you know that there is a problem with deep learning. What's the problem? That it's taking sometimes a huge amount of time to process the data. And we don't have that much huge amount of time always. Correct, everybody, guys? Yes or no? Hence, what is basically going to happen over here is that people try to save the models, which are called as pre-trained models. So what you can do is you can simply import those pre-trained models and you can just give the input to those pre-trained models, and there would be a small tweaking of the weights between different neurons that are available over there, and I think that is basically going to train your model. Is it making sense, guys, what I'm trying to say? So what is basically happening is that there are multiple pre-trained models, language models, transformers, multiple models are there. What people try to do over there is that they try to simply import that pre-trained model. Okay, then they pass their inputs, but only in the last layer. Only in the last layer, they just add one layer at the end. And because of that, what happens is that they do not have to train the neural network fully, which saves a lot of time and a lot of computational cost over there, right? So we will discuss that. You guys will get those are called as pre-trained models. There are different pre-trained models like BERT and everything, which you will definitely get an opportunity to work around with. But the next part or the next portion that I want all of you guys to understand is the generative AI. So there is raw data as input, there is generative model which gives the output, which is the new data, right? Now the thing is that what is a generative model? So there are multiple variants of generative model over here. There are GANs, as I told you, there are variational encoders. All of this is not in your course work. Transformers, right? What is GPT? What is the full form of GPT? GPT basically stands for uh, generative pre-trained transformers. Is it making sense, guys? Okay. Now, after this is done, everybody guys, any questions, any doubts in this much part? Everybody guys, any questions up till this moment? Whatever we have discussed, no, no, it's clear. No, okay, perfect. Perfect. Let's try to move ahead with the next part then. Feel free to interrupt me if you are having any questions, doubts, or concerns in this. So now after this is done, let's try to see GAN. I think GANs is their importance of GANs or any model is not there, but I want to discuss GANs with you today in this session. So as I told you, it is a model and that too it is a very recent model. It was developed in 2014, okay, by Lan Gopello, right? So basically what happens is that there are two things or two neural networks. One is generator, other one is discriminator. So the generator, what it is doing is that it is generating new data samples, okay, whereas discriminator is something which verifies the generated data is not that correct one. Generator is identifying the difference between the actual data and the generated data. Okay, so this design is influenced by ideas from game theory, which is a branch of mathematics. So there is set theory, there is pigeonhole principle, there is game theory. There are so many different portions over here. But but game theory is something which has influenced its design. So read this part, take 30 seconds and read this much portion so that you guys can get a better idea about it. Everybody guys, read this. Do let me know if I can help you with anything. So guys, is it clear now? Have you read it, everybody? So since it's the first day, we are expected to go from the basics, obviously. But still, if anybody is feeling that this one particular point was not clear, just feel free to let me know about it. Everybody, guys, is it clear? So basically, what will happen is that we today in today's session till 12 p.m. you guys will have a really good idea that what is generative AI, what are the different models or different architectures that are there in generative AI, what are the advantages or sorry, basically what are the types of problems first that generative AI can solve, what are the assumptions, advantages, disadvantages, data pre-processing steps, ethical considerations, all of that. We are going to discuss all of that over here, right? So basically what is going to happen over here is that the generator attempts to fool the discriminator into thinking that generated data is real while the discriminator attempts to accurately detect them. So as I told you, what basically happens with multiple iterations over here is that obviously in the initial few iterations, the quality of the data that is generated, it's not up to the mark. Obviously, no problem with that. But later on, what basically happens is that the quality of the data that generator creates, it moves at such a good level that discriminator is no longer able to identify the difference between artificial data and created data, artificial data and actual data, right? Now, after this particular portion is done, there is something which is called as image synthesis, style transfer, data augmentation, and other activities available over here. Okay, so image synthesis is basically that you give image data. Let's say that you have your image, right? You give your image data and you want to edit it according to a particular, uh, what you can say, style or a transfer or something like that. So generative AI can help you to create such type of data sets that are available, that are basically available over here. Okay, so there are three components over here: generative, adversarial, networks, as we have discussed. What is generative? It's a generative model which discusses how data is generated with the help of probabilistic models. What is adversarial? Adversarial word refers to the thing, one thing against again. It's like opposite. So the generative model is opposite to discriminator model. What they are trying to do is exactly opposite of each other, right? And last is networks, because there are two neural networks that we would be training over here. So take a minute, go through this, and do let me know if I can help you with anything. 30 seconds, guys, for all of you to read this much part. Perfect. Then I think let's try to take a small break of, is it only to generate the new data? One of the applications, obviously not only for that, one of the applications. So as I told you that there is variational encoders here, it says variational encoders, autoencoders, GANs, autoregressive there models, transformers, which is the chat GPT. So one of the possible one is GANs. Okay, GANs are responsible for just generating the new data, which is very similar to the data that you have fed it to the model. Okay, I hope Dr. Sagar, this is clear to you. So only GANs for generating. I mean, GANs are responsible only for generating. Okay, perfect. Let's do one thing. Let's take a break of 10 minutes over here. Sorry, 6-7 minutes. Let's resume at 11:09 a.m. with the next part. Okay, 5 minutes break for all of you guys. Thank you.
No voice is there, sir.
Hello, sir. Pranay, sir. Hello. Hello, Pranav, sir.
Sir, it's over, huh? Huh?
So I think, guys, we should get started now with the session. Am I audible, guys? Everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible.
Yes. So Dr. Sagar is saying, yes, sir, if I have sufficient data, then it is it that I do not require any support of GAN. So it's not like if you have sufficient data, then you don't require support of GAN. See, what happens is that you will have data in a particular format with a particular environment, right? With a particular problem statement. What basically happens over here is that, let's say that you have created a lot of assignments already, okay, and let's say that you want a new assignment to be created hypothetically, but it should follow a particular pattern. Let's say you are teaching machine learning to a class. You have There is a format in which you have created the assignment for logistic regression, for SVM, for KNN, all of them. Now there is what you can say, there is a new assignment that you want to create for cat boost or adder boost, hypothetically saying. So in that case, you will use generative AI not because you don't have data or something like that, because you want the algorithm to understand the pattern in which that assignment is created and then apply that same thing on a new algorithm. Is it making sense? So it's like using the pattern, using the trend, using the images that are there, and using those things later on for the actual part. Okay, so that is what this generative adversarial neural networks is for. So uh, I have added a lot of content which I thought would be very important for you, because this is reading material. So I'm going to take the sessions just for 2 days. But even after that, I want to have a document for you guys so that you can easily refer to all of these documents and get your work done. So this is the architecture of GAN, and then there are cost functions and everything. This is not something which we are going to discuss right now. Okay, but this is the diagram which we will discuss. So you will have latent random variable, real data examples, and generator. Right now, discriminator, is it correct? Yes, fine tuning, generated fake samples are going over here. So in a way, what happens is that there is a cyclic feedback loop, as I told all of you guys. And what is going to happen because of that cyclic feedback loop is that with the following iterations, with each iterations that is available, the generator will try to create such high quality data which will actually show minimal or technically no difference between all the possible options that are available over here. So everybody guys, is it making sense to all of you? What is the generative AI model used for? Everybody guys. So can I assume that all of you guys are in a good to go position? Okay, perfect. Perfect. I think Subhash is saying no, so I am assuming it's no for the questions, right? Subhash, it's no for the questions, right? Yes, keep going, sir. There is, sir, this can be used app. No, data type and everything, they don't have any zero influence. Zero, absolutely zero influence is there of data types on this particular part. Don't worry about it at all. Okay. So now after this particular section or after this particular portion is done, let us try to move ahead with the next part over here. So now what I wanted all of you guys to basically understand over here is that it is very important for you guys to understand how GANs work. You can read it, it's not there in your course curriculum, that's why I'm omitting it. But here is about GANs, variational encoders, uh, and about autoregressive models and transformers. Later on, if required, you can read it. Now, let's discuss this part. So these are basically the applications you can, what are the examples of generative AI tools, or what are the applications would be the better part, applications of generative AI tools. So in every industry it is being used, but to be honest with you, the industry in which you are going to work, you will find its application in that. Like, I'm a mentor, right? Part-time mentor. For me, the biggest headache was that I had to create the documents, I had to create the reading material, because all of the learners in my sessions, they always ask that is there any reading material that we can refer to by the end of our coursework. So it's my responsibility to make sure that this is basically something which is being implemented. Are you getting my point, guys? What I'm trying to say? So the most important part or the most important portion over here is that I need to see what it can generate, what generative part or what optimization it can do in my workflow. But the same thing is basically something which is applicable for you. So you can read here over here, arts and music. As I told you, it can help you to compose the same music, the music which is in same style in different lyrics, right? There is text generation that is basically present over here, and whatnot. Okay, and whatnot. 30 seconds on this, everybody, guys. So now let's try to move ahead with the next part, arts and music, text generation, deep fake generation. So there are a lot of ethical issues. You can swap the videos. If there is a video, you can swap the faces. There is a lot of ethical consideration going behind that. And government of India, and not only Indian government, every government all around the world is going to make a lot of, what you can say, rules about it, right? So there are a lot of strict rules that I think would be followed after the working of this particular portion over here, right? Is it making sense, guys, to all of you? Perfect. Now, after this particular portion is done, you can read it in your own laptop. Game development, drug discovery, there is a lot of research. So the thing is that with the help of AI, there is a lot of automated research that can happen. Okay, that's kind of the best option, or that's kind of the best portion that can be completed over there. Now, after this is done, let's talk about this topic. I wanted to talk about this topic for today. So, ChatGPT, Googlebot, and Dolly. I hope all of you guys have heard the names of these particular tools or these particular softwares. What are these things? Can anybody tell me, guys? What are these particular portions? What are these particular things over here? So, the most important thing which I want all of you guys to understand is that ChatGPT, Googlebot, DALL-E, these all are language models. It's an NLP tool driven by AI technology. So you can have conversations with these tools and they can help you, they can assist you with different type of activities over here. So there is a special course of prompt engineering. I think at the end of the part you will get an idea about prompt engineering, in which the quality, the prompt is basically the message that you give to generative AI. So the quality of the message that you give to the generative AI message, that is going to have really meaningful results over here. Take 30 seconds to read it and do let me know if you are having any questions or doubts in this. So I hope you guys have used ChatGPT. First of all, tell me. So Gen AI uses GANs as well as CNN. It can use anything. It depends on the architecture. Actually, generative AI uses pre-trained model. Okay, Vijaya, I hope this is clear. Generative AI uses pre-trained model. So there are pre-trained models on textual problems with RNN. There are pre-trained models on image classification with CNN. So what we do is that we import that pre-trained model and we just tweak the weights of the neurons with minimal effort so that require that much big amount of time to process the data. Is it making sense, guys, to all of you? Vijaya, I hope it helps you. So it can be anything. Okay, it can be anything. It's not only CNN. It depends. So I will give you a document for reference in which there is a list of language models that is available, and you can use this language model for almost anything. Right? So there are options that are being given. For question answering, there is a different language model. For summarization, there is a different model. For named entity recognition, there is a different. So for a different pre-trained model, I mean. So there are different options which are available for really different activities. Okay, and they can basically use any of the options that are there. Okay, so now let's try to move ahead with the next part, everybody guys. So now after this is done, ChatGPT has become really famous, but it's not that there is just one single tool with that particular activity. There are so many different tools and there are so many different activities that are basically present over here. Right, everybody? Is it making sense? So basically what is happening over here is that there is Googlebot, there is Dolly. They are not that famous, but they can do the same thing. So GPT is trained with different ranges of internet text, and then it uses ML model to transform that input data into output accordingly. This is the most important part. So it's a pre-trained model which uses transformer architecture, which you will learn maybe by second session or maybe by third session at the end of the day. Correct, everybody, guys? Is it making sense? Take 30 seconds, read it, and do let me know if there is anything over here with which I can help you. So now after this is done, the same thing about Google Bot, it's an LLM chatbot, large language model chatbot based on Lambda architecture. It is used to develop interactive dashboards and different charts easily. So as I told you guys, that different AI tools are being generated nowadays, and that is the really important reason why you should update your skills, or your what you can say, your learners should update themselves, because whatever were the traditional rules 1 year back or 2 year back, they are no longer in demand, and there is a very high chance that they would not be even present in 1 or 2 years, because with the help of ChatGPT that work would be automated, right? So people were working as dashboard developer in Power BI. A lot of my learners, as I told you, I'm doing uh, what you can say training from almost 3 years. They are working in chat, what you can say Power BI Tableau for that. Now, if you see, if a company buys the paid version of Google Bard, it can help them to create dashboards within minutes, what the developers were taking months or something like that. So what do you guys feel about this? Is it a good idea? So the thing is that earlier if they were requiring 10 Power BI developers, now they will just require 1 or 2. So the most important industry where there is a great demand right now, it's AI, to create tools that can automate. So let me tell you one thing, and this is something which I realized in November 2022, 1 year after my job at Edelweiss. So what I have realized is that people feel that the total IT industry is behind a machine learning, it is behind deep learning. It's not like that. Can you exactly tell me guys what is industry behind? What is the exact thing behind which industry is? Everybody guys, can you tell me? Hi Pranav, can you explain in brief how ChatGPT works? That's there, don't worry about it. But it's not there in today's coursework. Okay, don't worry, we are not skipping today's coursework. It's just for the overview. Later on, definitely it's there. Okay, we are not skipping it, don't worry. So everybody guys, tell me, what is the reason? What do you think is the reason because of which ML, deep learning, generative AI, all of these things are getting popular? What is the ultimate aim of industries? Absolutely correct. Vijay has given the word no, it's not speed. It's not Shivani to mitigate human-like intelligence. It's automation. One word, automation. So if you have been working in IT industry from a long period of time, you might have observed that people were creating automated pipelines, data pipelines, such that it can take the data from its raw source, process it, and do the part. What has happened is that the entire industry, IT industry, has been behind automation, and it's not just right now. It has been there since a really long period of time. But what happened is that the nature of problems has evolved, and the nature of problems that were there in front of the industry, they were such that it could have been solved only using predictive analytics. That why ML got into consideration, and similarly, then deep learning, MLOps, generative AI, and everything got familiar. But the main aim is this particular portion. Okay. So now after this particular portion is completed, let us try to move ahead with DALL-E. It's for creating new images with text to graphic prompts. So if you give some text that I want the image of a unicorn with something, 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 it can give you that image. So it's using GPT-3. There are different variants of GPT. It's using GPT-3 model. Don't worry about it. Okay. So now after this particular portion is completed, right? After you guys are clear with this particular part, take 30 seconds to read this. So this is for assisting you with tasks related to development, programming, composing essays, textual data basically. It's like a chatbot. Google Bot can help you with dashboarding. It can create images. And Doll is not like dashboarding, but it can create the image that you want. That it's text to graphic prompts that are working. Okay, take your time, read it, and do let me know if you have any questions. 1 minute for this. So I hope you guys have read about it. So now let's try to jump to the next part, which is very important since today's session is just introduction to generative AI, right? Since there are 14 sessions, 70 coursework for you guys. But since today's session is basically something which needs to be completed, what is going to happen over here is that if somebody is asking you the difference between AI and generative AI, then you should be in a position to discuss that portion. So what is the purpose? Purpose of generative AI is to produce new content. It can be anything. It can be dashboard, it can be images, it can be summarization, anything. Whereas the purpose of AI is to design wide range of tasks, not limited to generation. AI is a general part. Generative AI is a subset of that. Next is applications. You can read about the applications, right? So art creation, text creation, video creation, dashboard creation. And here you have data analysis, prediction, automation, and robotics. Even predictions, the most important part, predictive analytics, which was very common few days back. Now, after this is done, let's try to move ahead with the next part over here, which is learning. So it can be supervised, semi-supervised, unsupervised. It uses unsupervised learning or reinforcement learning because there is no target variable in generative AI that this is the exact text that you have to move ahead with. No, it's not like that. And the outcome is new or original output is created, which is very similar to the actual output with which you guys are expected to move ahead. Right? So I hope the difference between AI and generative AI is very clear to you. It's already there in the PPT that I have shared with all of you guys. Complexity, yeah, obviously normal AI models can range from very simple linear algorithms, not even linear regression, see very simple automated calculations, right? Hard-coded models to linear regression to complex neural networks. And generative AI always has complex algorithms like GANs, variational encoders. So Gen AI is very complex, and using it, we can boost the productivity. But creating Gen AI algorithms is something which is definitely a very tough task, and that is why right now, if you go out there in industry, if you say that you have 1 year or even 2 years of professional experience in Gen AI, good companies are willing to hire at 30 LPA, 40 LPA package, because even more than that, because if you are able to create an automated tool for them using the APIs and everything, it can save a huge amount of workforce problems for them, huge amount of time, and obviously ultimately leading to optimization of profits and revenue, right? So take a minute, go through this, and do let me know if I can help you with anything, guys. Everybody. Thirty more seconds, then we will move ahead with the next part. Now, after this particular portion is completed, everybody, guys, let's try to move ahead with the next part. What are the benefits? So, I think even from the time all the people were getting introduced in today's session, the CEO, the management, and everybody, I think they have already covered up all the advantages, all the points in pretty much detail. And I don't think I should be the one who is uh, denying what they said. Even like what they said, there are extensions to that. So what happens is that every person, all of you guys are working in academia, so you will see to it from your own perspective. But if you get in touch with people who are in different industries, like typically the people who are coming from from different companies, FMCG, supply chain, logistics, insurance, banking, finance, no limitation. I'm saying that there is no limitation to this particular part. If you get in touch with people who are from different industries, you can then start thinking about the fact that how people from all around the industries can make use of generative AI. So as I told you, I am a professor and I do development work. In both of these two things, there has been a severe increase in the productivity that I'm able to see. Are you getting my point, everybody, guys? What I'm trying to say? There has been a severe increase in the productivity with which I am working. But it's not only about the productivity, it's also about creativity. So I am not into any industry which is into creative, what you can say, portion. But the most important part is that it can give you really good results in that field or in that part as well. Is it making sense, guys? Everybody? Perfect. Okay. Sir, how to use Chat GPT with DALL-E? So, first of all, both of these two are different, what you can say, LLM models. DALL-E is some, so what you can do is you can create a model with the help of APIs. Okay. I have a code maybe for that. I can show it to you later if I want. I mean, if I get bandwidth. So you can send a prompt to ChatGPT. It will give the output. That output you can store in a variable, and that variable you can give to DALL-E such that it can create that image. So it will be an architecture of its own. So what will happen is, Lakshmi, that there would be prompt that you would be sending obviously through APIs. Okay, everything will happen through APIs. So prompt being given to ChatGPT, the output of the ChatGPT, whatever is the generated textual data, that is being given to DALL-E, and it will give you image, which is the final output. So from a single prompt, you can generate the image, right? But I don't think it carries a lot of sense because feed this prompt to doll E, still it can generate the image. I don't think there is any advantage of clubbing those two things. Right, Lakshmi, is it making sense to you? Right, because what is output of ChatGPT? It would be some textual data. It may happen that it will increase the quality of the analysis that you're doing, but not mandatory. Right, but it is not something which is mandatory. Everybody else, any other questions? Lakshmi, I hope this answers the question well in advance for you. Everybody, guys. Can I assume all of you are in a sorry, sir? Uh, Sorry. Okay, clear. Okay, okay, perfect. Yes. Now let's try to move ahead with the enhancing creativity. Uh, Image data, music data, textual data, even summarization activities are basically something that we will definitely work around with, right? Now the next portion over here is uh, let's try to move ahead with the next part. So read about this, as I told you that in your research and analysis, this is definitely something that can help you. Next part over here, assuming that you guys have read this particular portion, enhance personalization, I think, and provide assistance and economic growth because it can increase the productivity like anything. Okay, are you getting my point, guys? It is basically something uh, which can increase the productivity like anything. So if it is increasing the productivity, it is something which you should definitely have in your skill sets. Maybe in the next 1 year, all the learners that you guys are going to train, all of your students, if they have Gen AI on their PPT, then there is a very high chance that they will get record-breaking placements, right? Gen AI experience. Now, after this is done, everybody guys, let's try to move ahead with the limitations of generative AI. That obviously, if there are some advantages, it's definitely going to happen that there is some disadvantage as well. So the most important thing over here is that dependency of data controlling is difficult, computational requirement, right, and ethical and legal. This is the most important one. So obviously the generative AI part that we are going to take into consideration, it has a huge dependency on the data, really huge dependency on the data. So and in academia, I'm telling this because I've worked in both academia and in corporate industry. In academia, what basically happens is, sir, can we train any? You can fine tune. That's called as fine tuning, Shivan. So pre-trained models are the models which are already trained, and then you fine tune its performance on some other data. Absolutely, that's what we do. Whatever you have said, that's the thing that we do in industry. Okay. Next is that the problem is that in academia, what always happens is that the mentor is going to come, he or she is going to give the data, and then learners start working on that. But this is not giving them a clear-cut idea about the problems of data gathering. Gathering the data is one of the toughest problems in real-world industry scenarios. Either you have to buy it, Like I'm working at Edelweiss. So Edelweiss, as all of you guys know, it's a financial firm. It's a very big financial firm, and I'm working as a data scientist in the central data team in the GMM department. So what we basically do is that we are basically into uh, quantitative trading. So we take raw financial data. Are you getting my point? Is we take raw financial data, and that too from where? From different financial data vendors like Bloomberg, FactSet, AlgoSeek, Routers, Datascope Select. I hope you have heard the names of some of them, right? Bloomberg. Have you heard the name from Bloomberg, guys? Bloomberg is a very famous financial data vendor. So we have purchased the subscription and then we take the data from them. Otherwise, it's a very difficult process in industry if you are going to gather the data from sources, or it's a very difficult part if you are going to, what you guys can say, gather the data or acquire the data from what you can say clients and then populate it in SQL Server databases. So there is a complete data engineering team who works day and night behind this. So data is a big challenge. Data is a very big challenge, to be honest with you. Okay, and what is basically going to happen over here is that it generates different content. So sometimes it's difficult to get the quality data from it. So as our CEO told, that it's not the situation that every time whatever is the data that you get from generative AI, if even if you give the same message, it can give different data. Okay, it can definitely happen. So that is why what I want all of you is to understand over here is that this is going to consume time and efforts. Okay, and that is why what I feel is that it is very important for all of you guys to be clear with this particular portion. Okay, 30 seconds for the first and second point. Guys, try to read it and do let me know if you are having any questions or doubts on this. Next portion over here is computational requirement. So using generative AI model is very happening always. You just write a prompt, it gets the work done. But you can't even imagine the amount of pain that it takes to train them. What we do in using ChatGPT is that we use a pre-trained model, right? But training it takes a huge amount of resources, maybe the best computers all around the world, a huge amount of data, a huge amount of computational cost, which you already know, right? And the next part is ethical and legal concerns, which basically are of great, like you can do both equally good and equally bad, okay, as all of you guys might be knowing. So it is very important for all of you guys to understand the legal considerations. I think in less than 1 year, there might be some regulations that our government will impose on the use of AI, generative AI. Right. So again, the same, what are the concerns? Ethical considerations are the biggest concerns surrounding to is because uh, it's a human created content and it has high risk of being misused You can create videos which are fake and typically for celebrities, politicians, actors, people who are public figures. For them, going to really be a very big concern. So the quality is such that you can, I mean, any person can pose with them and get publicity, can take undue advantage of their what you can say, of their reach, public reach, right? So that's one of the biggest problems surrounding over here, security and privacy concerns. So let's say your mobile is having face lock. What you can essentially do is that anybody can capture your photo, okay, and they can create a live 3D image of your face, and your phone or your laptop can be accessed. So generative AI with your personal data can harm protection of sensitive information, right? Unemployment, obviously unemployment is a very big concern, because as I told you that a single person is able to do job of 10. So why will anybody hire a lot of people? And that is the primary reason, if you have observed, that there are a lot of firings that are still going on. So they started in Jan 2023. Everybody guys. So in corporate industry, firings and everything started in Jan 2023. What is basically going to happen is that people thought that after 6 months it's going to stop, after 9 months it's going to stop. It's been almost 18 months and it's still continuing. 2 3 days back I saw a post on Instagram by one of my learner that in his company 70% of the workforce was affected by that. Either salaries were reduced or fired. Affected, not fired, affected. Is it clear, guys? Take a minute to read it. Now, after this is done, assuming you have read this in your laptop since you were having the considerations for this particular portion. Now, after this is done, rights of ownerships, obviously the content, like let's say I have prepared a content or I have prepared a document, then I would be the legal owner of that. But with the chat GPT or with the content that is created with the help of chat GPT, there is nothing like original content now, right? So it becomes more challenging to differentiate between the content created by humans and AI, and there is no there is no point in having that part, like who created. But the thing is, like, let's say there is a very novel work that somebody did, research or something like that. In that case, this is going to be a really big problem. Is it making sense, everybody, guys? Perfect. So now let's try to move ahead with the next problem, or let's try to move ahead with the next part, future of generative AI. I think it is basically something which is going to be used for every activity, right? Creative people can use it, teachers can use it, lawyers can use it. So lawyers, if they want to create a draft for legal notice, for affidavit, uh, doctors, if they want to use it for whatever combination of medicines that they are giving, every field or every profession that is available out there, they can make use of generative AI. That's the biggest part. So if you guys heard about my introduction, affected in the areas of exactly mundane tasks, correct? And the thing is, when people created generative AI, this is a very interesting thing. When people created generative AI, what they thought is that uh, ground level jobs, right, like cleaning or sweeper or something like that, that would be going first, then blue collar jobs, then white collar jobs. That was the hierarchy. What has happened now is when generative AI was implemented, first person to lose the jobs were white collar people, then blue collared, and last one is basically the ground level people. Do you agree with me on this, guys? Everybody? When they implemented, they thought it would be going from down to up, but it's going from up to down. So the highest number of people who lost their jobs are content creators, IT engineers, right? So let's say I have to file my tax. I don't know anything about filing taxes. Okay, 31st of July is the last date, by the way. So let's say I have never filed it. I was always paying my CA for that. With ChatGPT, I can just write a comment that how to file a tax. I am a salaried person, blah, 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 blah. Just write the details over there. It will give you a step-by-step process for that. That's another thing. You could have Googled that also. Let's say that you are a business person and you want to create your report, right? Your finance document, right? That is called as balance sheet. Even ChatGPT can give you syntax of balance sheet with the data filled. If you upload that file of your sales, revenue, profit, ChatGPT can generate that thing for you, and you don't need any CA now, right? So that's the power of automation. Almost every field is either using it or is being replaced by generative AI. So that's the future of this particular portion, introduction to ChatGPT and how does it work, what are the things that are there. It is something which is not there in your course curriculum. We will move ahead with it later. I've just added it for reading. You can move ahead with it if you want to, but it's not there in your coursework, right? For this Monday morning session, it's not there. Okay, so everybody, guys, it's just 4 minutes that are remaining. I just want to ask you, do you have Jupyter Notebook? I mean, obviously you are professors in AI, but I just wanted to make sure, do you have Jupyter Notebook software up and live running in your laptop? Yes, because the thing is, in this session there was no coding, but in 2 p.m. session, there is a lot of coding that is going to come. Okay, introduction to NLP, tokenization, stop word stemming, lemmatization, POS tagging, all of this is going to be live coded. You can use Colab, I don't mind. Colab, VStudio Code, I don't mind that at all. But I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook. Visual Studio, yes, as I told you, Visual Studio is something which is universal, but I am going to use Jupyter Notebook. You can use any Python IDE that you want. I don't mind that. Okay, perfect, guys. Everybody, let's try to then discuss your questions. Any questions or doubts, guys? Perfect. Okay. I think you can install it in desktop. Yes. If you don't have that software, the better version is Google Colab. Don't spend your efforts in installing that last minute. Okay. My suggestion would be that you use Google Colab. Go in My Drive, go in New, go in More, Google Collaboratory. And if you don't have this Google Collaboratory option, go in Connect More Apps and install that thing. Okay, Subhash. So guys, there is a feedback form that has been shared for all of you guys. This was an introductory session. That's why there was a lot of theory, there was a lot of discussion. But now, as our sessions will progress, we will gain speed and we will have drive coding. Sir, can I get the notes as I have joined last? Yeah, absolutely, no problem. This is for you guys itself. I've created this for you guys itself. There is a lot of content which is not there in our coursework, but I've still added it. If you want to read it, you can read it. So perfect, guys. It's 12 p.m. Let's wrap up our session and let's meet at 2 p.m. again. Okay. Thank you, everybody, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Your participants join at 2 p.m. Sure.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
We'll have a practical session in the afternoon session.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll rejoin the session at 2 p.m.